Welcome to a new deep dive. Today, we're dissecting a challenge we all face, overcoming obstacles in negotiation.
Right. Those moments, yeah. A price seems way too high, or maybe a demand feels, well, excessive.
Exactly. Or you just get a flat-out no. It can really feel like hitting a brick wall sometimes.
A total roadblock.
So our mission for this deep dive, using the fascinating articles and notes you've shared with us, is to unpack the powerful strategies available, exploring how you can navigate these roadblocks and maybe even, turn them into opportunities for a successful agreement.
Yeah, finding that path through. Okay.
Okay, so as we sift through your materials, the first potent strategy that seems to emerge is this idea of overcoming the obstacle head-on.
Right. The direct approach.
Your research highlights this as, a direct, firm approach. Like one case study you included described a startup founder.
The one with the investor valuation.
That's the one. Armed with that precise market data you shared, they directly but, respectfully pushed back on the low valuation.
It wasn't about being aggressive, though. That's key.
No, not at all. It was an unwavering defense of their position, but backed by solid facts. Open, but firm.
And what's fascinating about this upfront method, and something your sources really dig into, is how it can instantly clarify things.
Clarify and, surprisingly, build credibility.
Exactly. Paradoxically, yeah. The research suggests that by sort of directly engaging that sticking point, you're not just asserting your position. You're signaling seriousness. And this is crucial, it's not about being rigid. Your notes highlight this too.
Right. Remain open to discussion. Avoid just seeming like unyielding.
It's principled negotiation, really. Focusing on the merits, not getting personal.
Yeah, exactly. And, as we keep going through your sources, it becomes pretty clear that just one approach, like only going head on, well, it isn't always the best path.
No, definitely not. A one-size-fits-all rarely works here.
Your notes especially, they explore these scenarios where that kind of direct confrontation could totally backfire.
Yeah, could really damage things.
So, okay, what happens when that brick wall just refuses to budge? When head-on isn't working?
Well, that's precisely where the materials suggest you need to pivot, to start thinking about circumventing the obstacle.
Circumventing. Okay.
This strategy, it's often linked to concepts like, expanding the pie, which pops up in your economic articles. It highlights the need for creative, sort of lateral thinking.
So instead of just arguing over the existing term.
Right. You look for alternative solutions, you maybe reformulate your proposal, or even shift the whole negotiation to a completely different area.
Okay. So like if price is the big sticking point on a service.
Yeah.
Instead of just haggling lower, you might propose, say a bundled deal. Or maybe offer a longer contract, but with a smaller upfront cost.
Exactly. Or highlight other benefits like expedited delivery or extra support, things that add value around the price point.
That research you shared on creative problem solving really seems relevant here. It kind of transforms a deadlock into more of a brainstorming session, doesn't it?
It really does. It's about reframing the problem itself. One of your organizational psychology readings pointed out something interesting.
Oh, yeah.
That many negotiation impasses, they aren't really about fixed resources, but more about fixed mindsets.
I see.
So circumventing forces both sides to consider a much wider array of solutions. It really tests your flexibility and adaptability. Two qualities your sources consistently flag as just paramount for a negotiator.
Flexibility and adaptability. Got it. Okay, and then there's the third strategy.
Yeah.
Maybe the most potent and possibly the riskiest.
Yeah, I think so. When you might need to force the obstacle.
Right. Applying deliberate pressure, trying to shift the other party's position. Your articles, they elaborate on different ways to do this, don't they?
They distinguish between, positive leverage.
Offering something the other side really values to kind of entice them to move.
Exactly. Versus negative leverage, which is more about highlighting the potential losses if you don't reach an agreement.
So it's not just about having raw power, but how you sort of frame its application.
Precisely. And your sources dive deep into the risks here. Big time.
Okay.
Because while forcing, it can get you immediate results, the research consistently points out it often comes at a long-term cost.
Like trust. Future collaboration.
Exactly. Trust and future collaboration. One particular legal study you included suggested that, it might secure a short-term win, but it frequently leads to what they called a winner's curse down the line.
Winner's curse.
Okay.
damaging the relationship.
Seriously damaging it. So it's not just the delicate balance. It's a really strategic trade-off you have to consider.
It actually brings to mind something Sun Tzu wrote. I spotted that quote in one of your broader strategy articles.
Oh, the subdue the enemy without fighting one.
That's the one. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. It really seems to resonate with this whole delicate dance of negotiation.
It really does.
Yeah.
Precisely. Because in negotiation, the real skill, and this comes through across all your materials, it isn't about rigidly sticking to just one method.
Wow.
It's about choosing the right strategy for that specific context, you know, intelligently alternating between that firmness, the creativity, and sometimes that strategic pressure.
To turn every obstacle into maybe an opportunity to move closer to a better agreement.
A more successful, often more sustainable agreement, yeah. The best negotiators, according to your sources, they aren't necessarily the ones who always win in a combative sense.
Right.
But they're the ones who consistently find the kind of optimal path through those inevitable obstacles.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've explored 3 pretty distinct ways to face these roadblocks, going head-on, circumventing, and, when necessary, strategically forcing.
And all drawn directly from the valuable insights you provided in those source materials you shared.
Yes, absolutely.
And remember, the real art is in the choice, isn't it? And the adaptation. It's about being strategically dynamic, not just sticking to one playbook.
So true. Okay, so for you, our listener, here's a thought to maybe mull over. Think about an obstacle you are currently facing. Could be at work, could be anywhere in life. Considering the specific examples and sort of nuances we've pulled from your own sources today, which of these strategies, going head-on, circumventing, or maybe even gently forcing, feels most appropriate for your situation right now?
And importantly, why? What are the potential risks and rewards you see with each approach in your specific context?
Yeah, factoring in those potential risks and rewards. Something to think about.